Music theory is a branch of science that explains the elements of music. This branch of science includes the development and the application of methods for analyzing and composing music, and the relationship between musical notation and musical presentation. Things that are studied in music theory include, for example, voice, tone, rhythm notation, melody, music counterparts, harmony, musical form, song creation theory, etc. Music theory explains how sound is notated or written down and how that sound is captured in the mind of the listener. In music, sound waves are usually discussed not in terms of wavelengths or periods, but in frequency. The basic aspects of sound in music are usually described in terms of tuning, English, pitch, pitch, duration, how long the sound is, intensity, and timbre, sound color. The sound can be divided into tones that have a certain pitch for tuning according to its frequency or according to the relative distance of the pitch height to the standard pitch. The difference between the two-tone tuning called the interval. The tone can be arranged in different scales. The most common scales are major scales, minor scales, and pentatonic scales. The basic tone of a piece of music determines the frequency of each note in the work. Tones in Western diatonic music theory are identified into 12 tones, each of which is given a name, namely the notes C, D, E, F, G, A and B as well as the chromatic tones, namely Cis Des, Dis S, Fis Ges, Gis As, and Is Bes. Rhythm is the setting of sound in time. Bars is a group division of beats in time. The time signature indicates the number of beats in the measure and which notes count as one beat. Certain notes can be accentuated by applying stress and varying the duration. Musical notation is a written depiction of music. In block notation, the pitch is depicted vertically while the time, rhythm, is depicted horizontally. These two elements make up the staff, in addition to instructions for basic tone, tempo, dynamics, and so on. A melody is a series of notes in time. The chord can be sounded alone, that is, without accompaniment, or it can be part of a chord sequence in time, usually the highest sequence of notes in the chords. The melody is formed from a series of notes horizontally. The smallest unit of melody is motif. A motif is 3 or more tones that have a musical meaning. The combination of motive is semiphrases, and the combination of semiphrases is phrases, sentences. A most common melody usually consists of 2 semiphrases, namely an interrogative sentence, antecedent, and an answer sentence, consequent. Harmony in general can be said to be the occurrence of 2 or more notes with different heights sounded at the same time, although harmony can also occur when the notes are sounded sequentially, as in arpeggios. Harmonies consisting of 3 or more notes that are played together are usually called chords. Music is sound that is arranged in such a way that it contains rhythm, song, tone, and harmony, especially from the sound produced from instruments that can produce rhythm. Although music is a kind of intuitive phenomenon, To create, correct and present it is an art form. Listening to music is a kind of entertainment. Music is a very unique phenomenon that can be produced by several musical instruments. Music is known since the presence of modern humans, Homo sapiens, which is around 180,000 to 100,000 years ago. No one knows when humans started to know art and music. From archaeological discoveries at locations such as the African continent, around 180,000 years to 100,000 years ago, there were evolutionary changes in the human brain. With brains that are smarter than animals, humans devise more targeted hunting so they can hunt larger animals. With this brain power, humans can think beyond reason and use imagination and spirituality. Language for communication has been formed among humans. From simple language and speech to dangerous signs and giving animal names, slowly a vocabulary of words emerged for naming objects and giving people nicknames. In nomadic life, early humans may have been inspired to take the dry leg bones of prey that became food and then blow on them and make a sound. There are also those who get inspired when they pay attention to nature by blowing a wooden or bamboo cavity that makes a sound. Wood was formed by blowing holes and becoming ancient flutes. Humans express feelings of fear and joy by using voices. Playing with their voice creates a song, hymn, or small chorus inspired by bird song. Wood and hard rock were struck to give off an exciting sound and rhythm. Maybe accidentally humans have tapped a tree trunk that is hollow inside with a lock that makes a loud sound. The skins of the animals used for clothing are placed over a large wooden cavity so that a drum is created. The theory of prehistoric music is based solely on the findings of Paleolithic archaeological sites. The flute is a musical instrument that is widely used in prehistoric times, one of which is shaped like a shakuhachi from Japan. There is a difjebebe flute made from the tigbonir of a cave bear, which is thought to have been used some 40,000 years ago. Various types of flutes and musical instruments made of strings or strings have existed since the time of the Indus River Valley Civilization, India, which has one of the oldest musical traditions in the world that originates from the Vedas. The largest and oldest discovery of prehistoric musical instruments is located in China, which can be traced back to between 7000 and 6600 BC. The Huri songs are a collection of music written in ancient writing excavated from Hurrian in the city of Ugarit, which is thought to have existed around 1400 BC. Music therapy is an interpersonal process that uses music for therapeutic aspects, physical, emotional, mental, social, aesthetic, and spiritual to help patients improve or maintain their health. In some cases, the patient's needs are addressed directly through music. On other occasions, the method of therapy depends on the relationship that develops between the patient and the therapist. Music therapy is used for individuals of all ages and with a variety of conditions, including for psychiatric disorders, medical problems, physical disabilities, sensory disorders, developmental disabilities, substance abuse, communication disorders, interpersonal problems, and for people who are in the aging process. Therapy is also used to increase learning concentration, increase self-esteem, reduce stress, support physical exercise, and facilitate a number of other health-related activities. One of the earliest records mentioning music therapy is located at C872-950 Al-Farabi. The meaning of the treatise from intellect describes the therapeutic effects of music on the psyche. Music has long been used to help people deal with their emotional problems. In the 17th century, scholar Robert Burton in The Anatomy of Melancholy argued that music and dance were essential in treating mental illness, especially melancholy. In his notes, music has immense power to ward off disease and calls it a very powerful drug against despair and melancholy. Burton points out that in ancient times, Janus, the Rhodian violinist, used music to make a melancholy man happy, all over more captivated, a religious person more pious. In November 2006, Dr. Michael J. Crawford and colleagues also discovered that music therapy helping schizophrenic patients in the Ottoman Empire, mental illness was treated with music. In music theory, a scale is a series of musical notations that are sorted by fundamental frequency or pitch. When compared to real life, the scale has a function similar to the ladder in everyday life, where the composition of the notes on a scale can go up or down depending on the pitch used to sort it. In general, a scale can be defined as a tiered arrangement of the main notes of a tonal system, starting from one basic tone to the octave tone, for example, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do. Under the principle of octave equivalence, a scale is generally considered to span only one octave, with higher or lower octaves on the scale simply repeating the basic pattern. The scale represents the division of the octave space into a certain number of steps, where the distance between these steps is called the tone interval, which functions to determine the pause between one note and another. A scale is generally arranged from a low note to a high note, with a repeating tone pattern every octave, the Bohlen-Pierce scale being an exception. A scale that repeats the arrangement of notes in each octave is represented as a circular arrangement of tone classes, which are ordered by increasing, or decreasing, the tone class. For example, the order of the note on a C major scale up is C D E F G A B, C, where the brackets in the last C note that it is an octave higher than the first C note. On the other hand, on the C minor scale the descending tone is C B A G F A D, C, where the square brackets indicate that the last C note is in an octave lower than the first. The distance between two consecutive notes on a scale is called a step. The notation of a scale is numbered according to the steps starting from the first level of the scale. For example, in the C major scale above, the first note is C, the second is D, the third is A, and so on. Two consecutive notes can also be numbered according to the relationship between one note to another. C and D create an interval of 1/3, in this case a major third. D and F also create intervals of 1/3, in this case 1/3 minor. A single scale can be arranged at a variety of different pitch levels. For example, a C major scale could start at C4, middle C, and move up an octave to C5, or it could start at C6 and move up an octave to C7. As long as all notes can be played, the octaves in which they are
located can be dialed. The scale can be described based on the number of notes per octave in the arrangement. Chromatic scale, also known as dodecatonist, consists of 12 notes per octave. Octatonic scale, consisting of 8 notes per octave. Diatonic scale, consisting of 7 notes per octave. Hexatonic scale, 6 notes per octave. Pentatonic scale, consists of 5 notes per octave. Major scale, minor scale, capital scale, full scale. The scale can also be described based on the interval of its constituents, for example, hemitonous or cohemitonous. Music theorists also generally agree that the constituent interval of a scale plays a large role in cognitive perception of sonority or tonal character. In addition, scales can also be described based on their symmetry, for example palindromic, eral, or having symmetrical rotations such as in Messiaen's limited transposition mode. The diatonic scale is a scale consisting of 7 notes with 2 kinds of intervals, 1/2. Diatonic scales are generally used in contemporary music compositions. A modal scale or scale is a rule for naming a tone based on the order in which it begins. The capital scale consists of Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, and Locrian. Full scale is a scale that has a full note interval between notes in the composition.